What's up, Psychonauts? Welcome back to another episode. Today, a beautiful sister friend from Costa Rica is joining me, Donna Lanni. I am so excited. This woman, her energy, the first time I met her, I was just like, oh, I am so in love with this woman. And I just cannot wait to spend some time with her. And I did have the pleasure of doing some ceremonies in her house with some people from Colombia, and just getting to sit and talk to her about her Ayurvedic medicine. And she's expanded so much. And I'm going to let her chat about her because she's got so much medicine to share. And I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today, Donna. Welcome.
I'm a podcast virgin.
Let's pop that cherry.
Oh, you popped that cherry. I know. That's why I wore red today. I just have been here for 4 years. I came down to Costa Rica 5 years ago to drink some medicine. I first went to Rhythmia. Yeah.
That was your first experience. I don't know this.
Oh, yeah, wow. I know. Well, I had reached kind of the end of a rope. I mean, my parents were both dying. My mother had been placed in hospice care. We'd said our goodbyes. And my first grandson had just been born. I mean, so like right in that same like days of flow, you know. So it was a very powerful time. And I was crashing. I just felt like everything was crashing around me. I was I kept too busy. I had 3 yoga studios in Fairbanks, Alaska. I was working full-time as a dental hygienist. I was working at the University of Alaska teaching yoga, probably teaching 7 to 9 yoga classes a week.
Wow.
And yeah, plus running a yoga teacher training, co-running a yoga teacher training with my business partner at Heartstream Yoga then. And my life was out of control. I was smoking cigarettes, and I was drinking too, to do some numbing for sure. So it was a lot. Everything was crashing down. And I said, I had reached a tipping point in the March of that year earlier, tipping point where I did not feel as though I needed to be here anymore. So I reached out for some help, and I got back into counseling. I'd done a lot of work with post-traumatic stress disorder, complex post-traumatic stress disorder of my own family of origin. And, but then it just was moving so slow, you know, Humpty Dumpty couldn't put me back together again fast enough, because I'm an Aries, you know, I have to go fast. It's like, come on, man. I was in my late 50s. I was 59. And I said, you know, I need more answers now, faster, more there. So I had watched a few of my friends really get their stuff together a lot more after drinking this medicine and going down to this place called Rhythmia. In fact, my teacher, one of my yoga instructor, teacher, mentor, Shiva Ray at that time, had been there, and she had also kind of co-founded some of the yoga there. So I said, you know, all of it's good. And so Reverend Michael Beckwith was down there that week, and I'm like, I'm signing up. This is what I'm doing. And I didn't really know what I was signing up for. And it was 4 ayahuasca ceremonies in a row.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yeah.
I did not know they did 4 ceremonies in a row. Was it 2 cups each night as well?
It's a lot of it was as many as you needed. The first 3 nights were Shipibu. They were Shipibu based and ayahuasca ceremonies. So they were 1 to 2 cup nights. And then the 4th cup was the celestial celebration of Yahe, which is, you know, open bar.
Yeah.
You drink until you can't.
Oh, I don't know. 2 cups. I've only ever done 2 cups, and I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah. And then sandwiched in there was all the answer is you stuff with Michael Beckwith, a lot of integration during that week, like hardcore, like, what did you get out of this? What did you see? How did this, a lot of answers coming through, all of this. Then we had breathwork ceremonies on either side of it, which was really cool. I love breath work now that I'm facilitating those as well now too, because it's huge practice.
Yeah.
And I got out of there and I was like, oh, this is amazing. It was life changing. And they had some really good arrhythmia. They had some really good intentions. Because if you run low on intentions and you don't know why you're doing this, or you know why, but you can't voice it correctly, sometimes that really helped as a good guidance. And the first one was show me who I've become, which opens up the gateway and all the doors of everything. Like here's how you were born, which was perfect, and here's how you are now, which is kind of like a shit, right?
Yeah.
or you're confused, or your life's a mess, or whatever. And this show me who I become. So you get to see the whole story, right? Merge me with my soul at all costs. And that's another one. And that's like, at some point in time, their belief system there is that at some point in time in your life, in your young life, you were separated from your soul, which breaks us. And we end up having to have that hero's journey of coming back to true nature and true self, right? And recognizing the divinity that you are unconditional love. Hey, that is the beauty of it all. But you merge me with at all costs, which can mean you're gonna go through the mud for a while, or you're gonna see all these things, and then heal my heart, heal my heart, and that's the big one. That's a very big one, because I was, and when you theoretically at that place, if you've received all three, then you've had your home run miracle.
Yeah.
But afterwards, we were left with a Facebook group, and it wasn't like there wasn't anybody on there that could answer the questions. 2 days after my first many experiences, and being in this beautiful container of Costa Rica, which I just was like, I'm in love with this place. There's no turning back. This is just beautiful. 2 days after I returned, I got back, my mother died. And so I was like, thrust into the situation of what is integration? I didn't even know how to begin to integrate what I'd learned. I had a lot of personal, like, feminine and women's circle practices that I'd implemented with myself. I knew how to, do some self-care through Ayurveda and yoga. But it was, once again, kind of like throw in an entheogen, several powerful medicine journeys. And you're really not quite sure where to go. You go back to where you come from, and you look at your life and say, wow, I kind of created a shitstorm here.
Yeah.
And this is all my doing. So how do I begin to pull the strings together? How do I begin to work this thing through? And then throw in the death of a parent. And it's pretty intense. So yeah, nowadays, the integration process is so much different.
Yeah, like, so that was 5 years ago, and there was nothing to help you. Like, all this stuff happened. I saw all these things. I went through all these emotions, and now it's like, okay, go live your life. Like, what did you do?
Well, I did rely on my Ayurvedic practices of breath work. I would kind of like, all right, this is the kind of, I think I really need to be eating a more grounded food, and, like preparation, and, like things that would calm my nervous system to the point where it's like that. But I soon found myself going back to some of my habits, going back to having some more occasional alcohol. And it wasn't like I was not like an alcoholic, I would say. I was more like a number. I was a number person. And then I was like, pretty soon I was hand rolling some cigarettes again and inhaling, and that just didn't, I was like, whatever. And I had to go through, sorting out all my mom's property and just being that busy. And the rest of my life did not let me go. And the rest of my life was not like, you need a break. the rest of my life was like, hey, you've been gone, So I kind of had to with balance. So I just had more on the practices. I think my yoga was the really stabilized me, that being in my somatic, in my body, what I felt like on the daily, what the breath felt like as it was coming in. Where I was placing my intention. So that's how I navigated that. Then I went back again 6 months later
to arrhythmia again. Oh, wow.
Drag my husband there.
Wow. So was your husband like supportive and like he like helped you with everything during the integration process of like, now what ish?
He was there.
He was there.
He was there. And I have to let him know that he was there. And but there was so much that, I'm an oversharer and I have a tendency to like want more, wanting more. And it was really easy. And these are things that we had been working on before. So I felt like we needed to do some more work together. And a lot of this stuff had come to a breaking point with us. And I'm like, all right, buddy,
you're coming to do ayahuasca.
And he was pretty much for it. He was like, oh, okay, I think I need to do some of this stuff. I'll go down there and do it. And then as soon as you sign up, there's always something that comes up. Everything starts, you sign up, I'm going to be doing plant medicine on this day. And all of a sudden it's like, it starts to bubble up to the surface. It's like the little infection's going to come up to your skin so you can remove it easier. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. It's a true statement that like, as soon as you sign up and you say yes, like she starts working with you.
They knows. And I was more aware of that the second time around. So I was more patient, because I was watching them go off the rails on a lot of things too. Just like, why do I have to, what am I doing this? And, why am I down here eating grass? Why is this dieta so important? Where's the steak? I'm in a five-star
retreat?
Retreat.
Is it a retreat?
It's a retreat center. It's a beautiful retreat center. And there's no alcohol. There's no meat. There's no sex. There's no, I'm like, guess what? Here to heal.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So it was really directed outward. It became very directed out. I had to like just really get into the trust of the medicine. The medicine did the work and just let it go.
Yeah.
And it did. It was beautiful.
So what was the shift within your relationship once he did it with you?
It was we were not sitting next to each other for the first 2 nights, 3 nights actually. We did not journey with each other, near each other. And a lot of it was him coming to terms with his relationship with his mom and stuff like that, and some of those things about him, just feeling like he was held by her. He actually held by for the first two ceremonies. He had little to no effect. He was like, I don't even know what we're doing here. And then it was a Taito Juanito week, and he's gonna die. That Yahe's gonna dive in. So it was the first night of Yahe, and it was like, I had Yahe is a very purgative version of ayahuasca. It's from the Colombia, from the Putumayo area, from the Iona, the Ingano and Siona tribes blend this, and it's very purgative. A lot of the same, I don't know what your psychonauts are aware of, but it's the Banisteropsis capivine combined with chacruna. And there's other herbs that they do, and they pray over it, and they set the prayers and the intentions for each ceremony. But when they're making the medicine, it's huge because it's a collective energy that they end up placing in the medicine. So it is it's very purgative in that you'll have a little bit more vomiting and more defecation, sometimes um, pooping yourself is what happens sometimes. It's common and
Yeah.
sometimes considered a rite of passage.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
hey,
Myself in
remember
ayahuasca.
reading,
Woo!
woo, but and also really, really diving deep. So it's very, very deep medicine, and that I've never seen more people kind of go out there to where they're not reachable,
Mm,
only through the help of the shaman, and
mhm.
then they are brought back in and helped. It's very, very powerful medicine, and it was really crazy there those nights. And I remember being there and really purging both number one and number two, just losing it, and then coming out of the bathroom and like having my bucket. It was a really hard night. We were purging our relationship and a lot of the relationship things and what we were doing and our methods of communication. And I just crawled back to my bed, and he comes over to me, and he's like tears in his eyes, and he's just like, I just spent 3 hours with my mother. I mean, he died in his arms and his neck too. So
Wow.
very powerful, powerful work, to go back and then to do a lot of forgiveness and all of that. So we have walked more the Yahe path, versus the other Shikibu blends of ayahuasca and stuff. And been to Colombia. That was
Mm,
beautiful. Yeah,
mhm.
I think Ambawasi. And I do love pretty much all ayahuasca. I mean, it really is a beautiful medicine. Yeah,
How many times have you sat? Do you know?
I stopped counting.
You're like, it's just a part of my lifestyle now.
It is a part of my lifestyle. I think I stopped counting about 60, 70 in the 5 years. And then there's been other medicines that I've actually been called to drink as well, as like Wachuma or something.
Mm,
The mother ayahuasca is so beautiful. She's very powerful in the form of Yahe, very dual nature, very strong masculine, but very strong feminine. Yet, like they say that Wachuma or San Pedro can be the kind uncle, and it's
literally.
beautiful. And so I've enjoyed Wachuma, and I've enjoyed microdosing and psilocybin. I think psilocybin has a real positive effect on depression. And
Mm,
I've
mhm.
looked at that. We've done this whole thing for many years. I go to work, we come back, we might be doing some medicine, still in that areas of disconnect within the relationship in a lot of ways. And last year really hit the nail on the head with my husband's near-death experience, which was very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, dove through a wave and broke his neck, and he was dead. And we had just come back from Colombia, which,
Mm, mhm.
yeah, and he had just lost his father while we were in Colombia. So there was like a lot of stuff. It was like, okay, universe is going to,
Test you.
yeah. So it's been big. It's been a big year, and microdosing. I midwifed him back, and
Mm,
midwife him back into his body. I had to step aside and let source do the work. And I
yeah.
watched that happen in Colombia with the shamans. Remember, I was telling you about how people can get really far out there, like way out there in this medicine, where they eyes roll back, things are coming out of them, and they are saying things. They may not even sound the same. They might be experiencing different voices. It almost appears like almost an exorcism.
Mhm.
They're not there. They're This is spirit working spirit, and the shamans are working with them at that point in time, and they basically get their spirit back in the body. I remember watching that happen, watching that experience happen, and I was able to work with that energy. a bit on that beach when I was giving him breath in the CPR.
Yeah. I remember reading your story on Facebook while it was all happening. And I was just like, oh my goodness, sending prayers like every single day. Like, I hope that you're okay. I hope that Ron is okay and that everything's good.
It's been good. It's been really good. It's been a hard climb back, and it's been through the medicine and also microdosing psilocybin as quickly as we could to get the brain to communicate with each other as fast as we can. It's
Mhm.
real good. And also him returning to medicine in January following that was very,
Wow.
very positive, a positive ceremonial space for him and for us. So it's been very good.
That's good.
Yeah,
It's such powerful medicine for sure.
it's life changing. It really
Yeah.
is.
So I want to back up a little bit in your story of like, so you sat with ayahuasca, 6 months later, you sit with ayahuasca again. And then what brought you to like full-time living in Costa Rica? And now you have like this beautiful space that you welcome people. Like, what brought you to being like, I want a homestead here?
Well, on the second trip around, it had been like one of those up in the air, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And we had decided to rent a vehicle when we were going to go to Rhythmia, and they asked us where we're going. And I said, oh, we're going to Rhythmia. And they were like, oh, you're going to do ayahuasca, huh? And this is at Sixth, right? So they're like, you're going to do ayahuasca, huh? You're going to go all out there and get psychedelic, huh? I'm like, yeah. And I said, then afterwards, we're going to go to Tamarindo. And they're like, oh, Tamigringo. No, that's okay. You'll go to Tamagringo. It'll be all right. I'm like, yeah, okay, okay. All right, yeah. But I said, if we're in a tiny little space, we're just going to relax for a couple of days by the ocean. That's what I really wanted to do. That's the only place I knew. That's all I knew. And I said, then we're planning to go into the mountains. And so we end up going into the Arenal area and staying in a little teeny place, which I love. And I continue to go back to it. And then we were going to go down to my friend in Guiones, and we were going to do a salsa and thing. And they're like, oh, this is nice. Nosara is nice. And they said, but if you really want to see the real Costa Rica, you'll go to Playa Carrillo. And I'm like, so on our little journey, we ended up in Playa Carrillo for Ron's birthday. And we had been to these other places, some of the other places. We had not been to Guiones yet. We were like, oh, this is gorgeous. And then we fell in love with it. And then we went into Samara to get dinner for birthday. And then we went onward the next day to go to Nosara for the retreat, for the yoga, salsa, and surfing retreat, which was fun.
Cool.
And it was great. And then we fell in love with that. I thought, this is a great place. Let's take a look around in Nosara for places to live, because my mom had left me some money. I sold her house, and I said, that's it. And I have a place somewhere else other than Alaska to live. And we looked around there, and I was like, it's way too expensive. And I was like, let's go back, and I'm going to take a look at Samara, Carrillo. Yeah. That's what I found, this place, and it turned out to be quite the amazing spot. This place came so organically to me. Yeah. We went down in there. We talked to the realtors, and they're like, we can't show you anything on a Sunday. Come on, man. Can you video some of this? So they did. They videoed property for us, and we went down and looked at about 14 of them. We took then it was we decided on another place, but I had 3 bad dreams in 3 nights after I'd laid down the earnest money, and I was about ready to withdraw the earnest money. I was opening up my computer to email my realtor, and I had received a message back saying, I've never had this happen before, but the seller has decided to back out. So he's like, I've got this place, it's under construction, it's brand new.
Yeah.
And here's Pasolani. And
I think Costa Rica and how things manifest, and like how when you don't want something, like something will come up that'll be like, hey, there's a conflict, and just even now being gone for almost 2 years, like I see it in my life now and I'm like, oh, I wish that like this event wasn't happening or I wasn't getting together with this person. And then it's like the universe just comes in and it just like fixes it. And I'm like, I don't remember this happening before I lived in Costa Rica though.
Right? It has
Yeah.
like a little magic wand where it's like, okay,
It
yeah.
does. It does.
So quickly, I mean, you see the big tree behind me, quickly
Yeah.
I realized that I was not alone here. This is Turritega land. This is old land. The tree is very old. She's about 200 to 250 years old, Pichote tree.
Mhm.
And I have a bougainvillea that has like a base this big around, and it's bifurcated. I mean, it's fine bougainvillea. It's a tree that's been around a long time.
Yeah.
And it has a newness to it, but I'm right on the edge of Playa Buena Vista, which is it will never be built on because of the mangroves that it's there, and it's a turtle beach.
Yeah.
There's huge nature, and fallen completely in love with this place and the people. The people are so cool here.
Yeah.
Really is a good spot for growing yourself and helping others to grow, and it's a good spot, and it's healthy.
Yeah.
healthy.
So now that you're there and you're all settled, what are the offerings that you are currently doing? Because I know, but I want my audience to know.
Well, I started out by everybody's like, wow, if you're down in Costa Rica, can I come and visit? And can I do some of this crazy medicine with you? And I was like, yeah, you can sure come down. And so people would come, and I have a couple bedrooms, and people will come and stay. And yeah, I didn't quite know how to help people when they were going through their process.
Mm.
But I did offer a place to stay. And what the best thing that I could do was to offer them Ayurvedic food, help them assist them in the dieta prior to the medicines. And after I'd help get them to the medicines. I'd sometimes sit with them. But I needed more. I needed more tools. So I ended up going back to school and becoming a plant medicine integration coach. And that gave me a lot more tools to help
Mm.
people more through the process, to really recognize the preparation, the phases of preparation, and how to navigate tools, to give them tools to navigate their process better through the medicine, and to actually get them to feel empowered to question the facilitation process so that they feel completely safe. I think
Mm.
safety is key. Safety and choice and agency. Like, I don't want to have this done to me. I'm not going to do this. So, I mean, do you have to do this? Things along those lines. No, you don't have to. So you have to be able to feel like you have a voice to ask the questions. And what
Mm.
questions do you get to ask? Well, pretty much anything. It's your body, it's your life, right? So I help people now more in that phase. I don't have as many people that come,
Mm.
and it's a lot more exclusive anymore. I also offer Kambo prior to some of the medicines that are being served. I do not serve ayahuasca or bufo or any of those other things. I let I let the folks do that, but I like all the preparatory medicines and the plant allies. I have a solid relationship with Rapé. I've had that relationship for over 4 years, and was given permission to serve Rapé from Taiwan, and taught. And it's just a way of picking it up. And first you're like, wow, it's a pretty powerful medicine. And also Sananga, working with Sananga, which is the eye drop that helps visionary process. So I offer all of this with the Ayurvedic food and dieta appropriate to the diet appropriate to the medicine that you're going to be moving through.
Mm.
I like to have definitely a discovery call long before you decide to make a plan to come, so that we know that we're in alignment with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that we are working towards the same type of goals, or what I'm knowing more what they're about, what they want to receive out of it. And if this is something that I can help to provide or facilitate for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I pick them up at the airport, have them picked up, and people get brought down and they stay with me. They do the work. They're here to do the work. And that's what I'm about here in this little Costa Lanni space. That's kind of on a side, and that's an occasional client will come through, which is awesome. And I have, and it's, integration before, preparation before, and navigation, and then integration post. So, I mean, it all comes in a package.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to stay with me, you're going to do the work, you're going to do the integration, we're going to do the Ayurvedic consultation. This is a whole big thing. So it's a package of how you can actually care for yourself afterwards. And I'm going to be there for you afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
That's big. And I also, at this little juncture, just open up the doors twice a month to Integration Station. And it's a place where people are like, we've just been doing so much medicine, or we've been doing this medicine or that medicine or this medicine or that, And it's a way to know, like usually the new moon meeting is about education. Like I'll pick a topic like the importance of setting an intention, or how do you vet your facilitator, or how do you vet the facility, or how do you vet the facilitator? That's so important, and like the questions you can ask and what you can. And we discuss this. I get a good little lecture in and tell them my little circle in, and then everybody pitches in their ideas of what they felt. And sometimes people have felt like, well, I didn't feel comfortable asking that because I didn't know, and I'm like, oh, okay. But now, so here's an action plan. So the next time you can. And it's to help create a container of safety, and so that people feel like they're going to be safer within the medicine, so they can open up more to the experience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens twice a month, and I serve Kambo.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And I love that you want people to help find the right facilitator, because that is something that is so important. Because since I've been in this medicine realm, like the past 2 years since living in Costa Rica, it's like you end up hearing bad stories. And like people went in and they trusted the shaman, and then like they end up getting in bad situations, right?
Yeah, I mean, it happens, and it's happened. And fortunately, there's some measures being put into place a little bit more with Psychedelic Society of Costa Rica.
That's good.
Yeah, really, really cool stuff about to help with harm reduction. Harm reduction. Now, I mean, we have to take a look too at the cosmology of people, of facilitators. We have to go in with a little bit open awareness that a lot of times the culture is so different from ours, and that is the culture. And we have to understand that not always is everybody going to bend to what we're doing. And you have to understand where you are in that, and find your boundaries with yourself, and say, this is okay, this is not okay, but I'll take this, right? This part of this is going to be fine here. And I mean, I that's sad to hear that so many, and it's a high trigger warning, because it can be really, really, it could be life altering forever.
Yeah.
Have to get damaged while they're in an altered state like that, or be violated in a way that's not okay. So I offer my services to integrate private integration services like that as well, to kind of move through not just that kind of trauma experience, but to kind of like more on the surface level, kind of working with the integration of the medicine journey itself. For somebody with deep trauma and deep violation trauma, I would refer them
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm the first person who hears about it. Or one
Oh,
of the
wow.
first to hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this happened. Is this supposed to happen? Okay. Let's, regulate the nervous system first, moving into those kinds of somatic practices, find out what the medicine itself was saying, where you're at with that. And then from there, I would have a referral to for more intense damage control. Right. And I think a lot of people go into medicines and they don't have a support system.
Mm-hmm.
They're not supported at home. They come back to home and everybody's like, well, you're different. And they don't. I mean, sometimes a therapist too. To have a
Yeah.
therapist that is psychedelic aware, that is entheogenically understanding. I had one of my therapists were like, if you go down and drink ayahuasca, you're just going to explode and this isn't going to work for you. And the other one was like, oh, I think you can handle it. So I went with her.
Yeah.
you know,
What
you
is my
know,
gut saying?
what does my gut say is that and in some ways, sometimes I go, I am going back to some of the original stuff that I have been through entheogens, been able to kind of like bypass a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a feel good that goes on with these medicine ceremonies, and there's a feel good that you get to carry. And if you can have medicine once a month, or, then you're going to keep feeling good,
Mm-hmm.
and you may not address what you need to address. That's why I'm really about the integrative process, like taking those bites of time, sitting with that medicine, and don't go running to the next medicine and
Mm-hmm.
then to the next to find the answers. What does this medicine have to say to you? What is its voice?
Yeah.
Mm.
So if somebody was looking to sit with start this journey, would you recommend for your own experience going straight to ayahuasca, or would you start with psilocybin? What would you never done it before? What should somebody do?
Good question. I love that question. I think definitely having somebody they can voice with at first, like what would they be going into it? Why? What's the why?
Mm.
Really,
Mm-hmm.
really discovering a why. Is it just, well, I wanted to see what it does? Well, then you could do that any Friday night, but if your why is, I want to do some deep work, I want to get this thing, that you need to have somebody that you can talk to about that why. Then it's like, for me personally, when I look at somebody, I'm like, I don't know, maybe they're constitutionally more they probably feel better if they did this, or they might feel better if they did this. And I give them a choice, lots of different choices, this one can do this one. And I kind of help them decide for themselves, like
Mm.
educating people, giving them like, hey, the Bufo Kambo thing is amazing. It's not for everybody. Ayahuasca is amazing. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Some people want to just get in there, get in and get done, and they want to get wowed, and it's a shorter experience. And Kambo Bufo,
Yeah.
and it's a powerful experience. It's life altering. It's changing you forever.
Mm-hmm.
The middle of the road, and probably the safest medicine of every is psilocybin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's not for everybody, of course, either. If you're on an SSRI or serotonin inhibitor, or a monoamine oxidase inhibitor, all of them not the best medicine, because those receptor sites are already covered. They're
Yep.
already, it's just not going to work. People are going to take great amount. I took 3 grams. I hardly felt anything. I felt a little something,
Yeah.
because that's the way, it's not going to work on you. So you really have, I think, definitely knowing your medical history, your
Mm-hmm.
why, your psychological history too.
Mm-hmm.
It entheogens aren't for everybody. They can be, really uprooting for people with bipolar disorder, and really challenging for people who've had psychotic breaks.
And you really have to monitor people so that we don't re-traumatize them. We don't allow them to go to places to traumatize themselves or to unstabilize something. I have a really good friend of mine though that monitors and maintains his life with regard with bipolar disorder, severe bipolar disorder, with psilocybin and
Wow.
psilocybin alone. Yeah. He's
Wow.
amazing person and a very, very big advocate on harm reduction within psychedelic. I'll give you this number. You'll
Mhm.
probably want him on board here to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I love hearing those stories. Like, obviously, that's not everybody's result and outcome, but like, even going to a sound bath, people have had, they've been on prescriptions for years, and then all of a sudden, their pain is gone and they no longer have to have that prescription, right? Like, it doesn't just have to be a psychedelic. Like, there's breath work, there's sound baths, there's yoga, there's doing the Ayurveda. Like, there's so many things. Like, it doesn't just have to be, that's just what we're talking about, right? So,
Exactly. All these processes, the DMT, the dimethyltryptamine, it's just an amazing process. It is there at the beginning of your birth, right when you come into the world, and it is there at the very, very end. It helps us cross over. It helps us come in. It's the highest concentrations we have in our bodies at that time. DMT, our natural state. So when we're breathing hard, you've ever been with someone who is passing, they breathe hard, they're breathing all these irregular breaths, they're having all these pauses in breath work. Same levels of DMT you can create through a breathwork experience.
mhm.
If you're giving birth, if you're having all, mamas are always doing this stuff, and it allows mamas to step aside and let spirit come through.
Yeah.
And it's a big, big, big time.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, these things and of course near death experiences are another way. Or even meditation.
Mm.
People go to highly meditative states,
Mhm.
sound healing. Oh my gosh, you can just go in a resonance with one tone and you're
Mhm.
gone. You're gone. And yeah, so we sometimes talk a lot about that
Mhm.
in integrative process. And integration is not just those processes. Yeah. It's not like, oh, okay, now you have to do this type of Ayurvedic diet and then one breathwork ceremony, and then you have to hit up one sound bath twice a month. And this is a prescription for your integration. No, those are just, and then get into the rapé and you'll have that once a night before you go to bed, and you'll feel great. It's not like that. Integration is the embodiment of what the medicine is. And that's where the somatic practices come in, evening practices,
Mhm.
body stand practices, the feeling yourself in your body with awareness and being present with yourself and another at the same time. So
Mhm.
somatic practices come in so beautifully.
Yeah. Like, it's not just keep going back to ceremony. It's like changing your life, embodying this new version of you that you've never been before, because the medicine has shown you what you've asked. And now you need to go and live it in the world, or else she will kick your ass. Like,
Oh yeah, right. Time and time again. You're
right?
not doing it. Yeah. And I just finally got my ass kicked long enough. So that I finally got pretty much everything out of Alaska and everything's here.
Yeah.
It feels good. It feels good. It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
That's good.
Kambo is an interesting one too. Kambo medicine is very good. In that it is not an entheogen, but you know that you're not alone. You know that you're with the frog. You're with you're with the frog, and the frog is in you. It's
Mhm.
their immune system actually coursing through your own body, and you feel that. You've done Kambo before, yeah?
Mhm.
Like, oh, yeah.
I would like to do it in a better environment. I can't say my experience was that great.
Hi.
Yeah. So it was a closed container. It was somebody that was getting trained. So yeah, I did not have the best Kambo, and I have the scars to prove it, or what would you call them? Not scars, but like, it's kind of like your tribal imprint of like, oh yeah, I've done that. And I would love to do it again. Like next time I'm down, I am definitely getting in touch with you for sure.
Right. It's just, you can take that in so many different levels too. Like you can just do 1 or 2 quarts and you can allow the peptides to go into your body because that's such a beautiful nourishment of your body to
Mhm.
with the immune system. We've been using it a lot around here, a lot with dengue in
Oh,
the
yeah.
community that I've kind of set up with the local people, which has been so nice. It's by barter and trade.
Mhm.
Really powerful work. We do Sananga. Everybody's like, ah, what the heck was that?
What are you doing to my eyes?
And my teacher, yeah. No, my teacher in Texas was just amazing. Yeah, Angela is just a beautiful soul, and she's a great, amazingly powerful facilitator, and very much in touch with the Matses tribe and what their intentions are in helping them get water. So everything gets pretty much tied by, a lot of my work gets tied and just bring that back to the frogs and bring that back to the villages that are supporting us and supplying us with this amazing medicine.
Mhm.
Different than the master plants, but they all walk hand in hand, like the allies and the frog, Kambo and Rape, Mambe, Ambil, Sananga. All these are just like they hold hands and they help you, support you. Integration work can also be, again, on a physical level as well. Like the weaving of the cultures, how they weave the designs into their jewelry, they weave their designs into their bags, the meditation of counting this, and the patterning of colors takes from the 5D and places it into the 3-dimensional world. So it's a way of taking the lessons from the 5 dimension into the 3-dimensional world. And that's why of all these great, like ankle bracelets, things along those lines. Everybody wears them, but it's like, why are we wearing them? Because they're pretty, they're beautiful, and they're gorgeous, and it might be a memorabilia, but it knowing that full well it came from a vision, and it's coming into the 3-dimensional world, and it's on your body now. It's another way to really look at that. The practices of steam baths, plant steams, is what I also offer. It's we have a pressure cooker and an ice fishing tent. It's crazy, and we just have seats inside this ice fishing tent. And it's beautiful, and I put the hose in from the pressure cooker and put herbs in the water. It's sweet and bitter baths, and the bitter baths are for bringing up, helps to also let things rise to the surface to be eliminated, but it also brings the bitter away, and that it helps to eliminate the bitter, take the edge off the bitter. And that is tobacco and sages and ruda, different herbs like that. And then the sweet bath, of course, is primarily basil and lavender and sweet panacea, lemongrass, things along those lines. Different baths.
So that's part of one of the offerings that you have. Is that like a stay with Donna offering, or is that just like an integration?
Stay with Donna. Well, I've been doing that with my integration station. Sometimes the integration station work, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a plant steam tonight. And so we'll do some rapé, we'll do some mambe ambil if they want that. Then we'll go into the steam together. Then we come out and we break bread. Everybody brings a little food, and we have a discussion. And that's like a bi-monthly event.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we talk about, as I say, we have the integration meeting, pretty much over food. We're able to talk and but it's more of a community service for harm reduction and keeping things in order to let people know that, you know, they're not alone. They don't have to keep running around from plant to plant. You can listen to one plant for a little while, and
Yeah.
or one animal, you know, bufo, or one type of ceremony. You know, really, really get what you want, what you need out of that. And there's also a timestamp on, you know, safety wise, like we don't want to do this too close to this, to this, to this, you know. So it's kind of like maybe we should kind of move it this way a little bit, you know, set up the time difference, you know, like
Yeah.
long between ceremonies.
Yeah. A question about the sharing circles, just because this is something I've noticed in my own life, which I would love to start hosting women's circles and just have this intention. When you share, is it like one person is sharing at a time, or is it like a big group discussion? Like how do people share their story?
Classically we do one at a time.
Yeah.
We do one at a time, and there's no feedback.
Yeah. That's okay. You just confirmed it for
Thank
me.
you.
Yeah.
It's just thank you. And it's kind of like an AA meeting. Everybody,
Right.
at first, when I put this out on Samara, we got all the, you know, like some of the people that didn't really understand what this was about. They're all like, oh, you just buy the plant medicines, buy these dumb plant medicines, and blah, blah, blah. And you're this, you're that, you're this. And because I suggest a donation or suggest a contribution for coming up to doing this. But I said, it's just a suggestion, number one. Number two, it's a potluck. You can just bring food. That's what
Yeah.
you want. And number
Yeah.
three, the big AA meeting. It's sober. It's a sober space.
Yeah.
And we speak one at a time, and
Hmm.
we listen.
I think that's important because like that, like I said, it just confirmed what I want to create, because I feel like you're more seen and you're more heard, especially with the no feedback thing. It's like there is no judgment. You're here to show up and share your story and be seen, heard, and loved. And that's it. And then break bread.
Bread. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh,
Been really, really, really good. It's been a good process. Yeah.
I wish you were doing that when I was living there.
Well, you know, but also too, sometimes it just gets into a free for all as well, where we're just talking and sharing around the dinner table as well. And that seemed to happen more this last time.
Mhm.
This past Sunday, I think it's probably, you know, the eclipse energy, and there's a lot to be navigating right now. The energy is very, very strong. So people had a lot to say, and
Mhm.
just tried to make sure everybody had a turn.
Mhm.
Everybody could listen when people were having that turn.
Yeah.
We get going, it goes from 4 to 7 with the steam and everything like that. And I'm like, we normally don't get out of here until 8. You know, it gets still longer and longer and longer. And I'm like, my time management's not so good.
Pura vida.
Yeah. It's been good though, but it's kind of what I'm about. You know, I'm really enjoying, as I say, really enjoying the different aspects of these medicines. And as I've gone from being so a zealot for like, everybody's got to do medicine. Everybody has to do it. Yeah. And it was like yoga. When I first did the yoga practice,
Everybody has to do yoga.
you got a problem with that? There's a yoga pose for that one. There's an asana for that one. I got you. You know, just come on over here. I'll teach you this. And you know, and I'm like, I was like that immediately with plant medicine. I'm like, everybody's gonna go psychedelic, and everybody's like, girl. not this for it's not for everybody. It's really not. And I have a lady that came to meeting this past week. She said, if I just sit next to somebody who is doing some medicine, I'm feeling it. And that's how beautifully attuned our world is now. You know, that's the direction the energy is actually is coming. We're not necessarily having to say, you know, I feel your highness. No.
Right?
Because you do. You already.
Yeah, intertwined and interconnected for sure. Like, and that's why I love the group environment too, because it's like you are all working as one, no matter what the trauma is, or the past or the history, no matter your gender, like none of that matters. It's like it's one consciousness coming together in that space to just heal and no longer carry this massive backpack that's been heavy and full for so long, right?
It's so important too. At that point, you have this beautiful collective healing space. So important to have a strong leader of the ship.
Yeah.
Someone that's going to make sure that the energies that are not supposed to be there are not coming in. And the ones that can come in to come and serve and come and be there.
Yeah.
And it's very important that the facilitator, the shaman is very good. They're solid.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
picking and choosing too. Like I had some people like, well, I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to go to that one. I'm like, oh, this is what you're more working on. Might you want to work here this way or this way? You know, decide.
Yeah, finding the people who have actually done the experiences is like the key and had good experiences. You're definitely somebody that anyone could get into contact with to be like, hey, where should I go? And like, what's the safe space? So I appreciate that about you so much.
You.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I just did so many certifications, so many things like this in my 64-year-old self. And I'm like, I'm just there.
Yeah.
Healing too.
Always. I don't think, like, I've heard other podcasts be like, you have to get to a point that like you're so healed that you can help people. And I was just like, do we ever actually get there though? Like, that's a lot. Like, we're healing family lines of trauma. Like, that's a lot of work to do in one lifetime. Like, maybe the next 3 lifetimes. I don't know. But not this one, that's for sure.
Well, and it's knowing what's yours and what's theirs.
Yeah.
It's understanding what's yours and only yours.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're open and you can heal. Sometimes those lines can get crossed, and it's very easy. This transference can happen. And it happens with all types and levels of therapy. You can oh, that's my stuff, or that's their stuff, but it's actually yours.
Right.
So it's I love that work of Byron Katie.
Oh,
The work of Byron Katie, it's called The Work.
okay.
And it's like, oh, I don't like them. I don't think they like me. And it's like that she has a way of like turning it around, like, well, you don't like them. Oh. Oh,
Right.
okay.
It's a mirror.
And
Always.
yeah, always a mirror. So being aware of all the smoke and mirrors that happen with all of this, and it can get very distorted and very crazy, very fast with empty engines on board. So a lot of facilitators like to do one-on-one, with psilocybin and stuff like that. I recommend a facilitator that might be a little bit in the medicine, and then somebody that's totally sober. Be with that other person so that there is a coherence, or like there's 2 people on board instead of your word against my word. Because somebody gets on medicines and they start going into the process, and there's nobody else to back this up. Clear consensual lines too. It's very important. When you're working within the container, then you can expand. If there is not a container, like, okay, we're not going to let you take your clothes off and run down the street. But if
that happened,
if you do that, if that's what happens, we are going to come and put our hands on you and bring you back into this area, this container. And so nobody's like, they touched me wrong, or they did this sort of, they had to drag you to the ground, and but yeah, you ran down the street and you were going to go over the cliff and you were naked.
Right. Like somebody needed to stop your behavior.
Sensual things like, can I put my hand on you, on your back, on your leg, on your shoulder? Wow. Very nice. Asking for permission. Facilitators, a lot of the more savvy facilitators, even from the indigenous lands, are starting to really, really recognize the need of the Western to have some form of permission.
Yeah.
Where they just get in there and dive in with their own people. Their own people don't have a lot of what our traumas and our miserable existences at times that we have, and they have their own form of misery. Yeah. But
Mhm.
it's not sometimes as layered and as complex. Theirs might be, we didn't have enough water. We don't have enough monkey meat for the table, or the guys didn't get the hunt right, or these people are moving in and they're moving into our territory, or we're sick because we're getting all these diseases from people moving into our land. But
Mhm.
we have these layers of my mom and my grandmother didn't treat me right. And I'm just, all these, and they didn't treat my parents right. And I have all these things, and I have way too much money for my own good. And I have all these big things. And, the poor rural shaman that's coming out of the jungle is looking at you like, I really don't understand your trauma.
Yeah.
They're doing much better though.
Mm.
Right? A lot better, because they know that they're bringing medicine to heal us,
Mhm.
help us. And their mission is really to hold this like lotus flower medicine. So this is for the world. You
Mhm.
need to have this drop of medicine so that you see what you're doing to Mother Nature, what you're doing to the earth, the planet, all of
Yeah.
it.
Oh, we are over an hour now. We just hit an hour. I think that I'm gonna have to have you back, because this has been so informative. And obviously there is so much more to talk about with like the tribal side of things, and like going and knowing the shamans, and like just embodying that lifestyle while working with this beautiful medicine. So I'd love to have you back if you are available, even if it's in a couple months, that's okay.
Fine. Yeah, my goal is I'll be traveling to Peru, to work with Watuma in January. Then I'm planning to go to work with the Matses tribe with my teacher Angela,
Amazing.
Kambo collective down there.
Oh,
We're gonna go deep into the jungle.
love it.
Want to meet the frog.
So if people want to find you, how do they find you?
How do they find me? They can find me at Wisdom Medicine, Yoga, and Ayurveda. That is, and you can also call my number. You can just WhatsApp me +1 907 978 0915. And just give me a call, just send me a WhatsApp. And you can put that, I guess, in the YouTube or whatever. in
I
the
will,
notes.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that's how you can reach me. I'm kind of in the stealth mode.
Yeah. Or get a hold of me and I will send you her way.
There
Awesome.
you go. Thank you, Jack.
Amazing. One last question before we go, which I ask everybody. If you could give one word to your very first plant medicine ceremony that you were in, what would it be?
Humble.
Hmm.
Humility.
Yeah. Amazing.
Brought me to my knees.
Yeah. It's that first ceremony, right? That just like transformed your entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Donna, for your time and your energy. I love you. I miss you. And I appreciate you so, so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you so much. Get your butt down here. Come on.
I know, right?
I loved doing our yoga and our sound bathing together. That was so
Oh,
nice.
it was. Yeah. I live in the wrong country. That's okay.
Doing the work, honey. Love
Doing
you.
the work. Spreading the love. Awesome. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.